Hey everyone, here I have my 1989 Jeep Wagoneer XJ, which I'm about to do a rough country suspension lift review on. So currently I have my Jeep Wagoneer sitting at 5 inches of lift in the front, 4 inches of lift in the back, with 32 by 11.5 inch wide tires on it. The reason it's like this is because originally I did a 3-inch rough country lift, and then I decided I wanted to go bigger to fit bigger tires. So I did coil spacers in the front and then drop shackles in the rear, just to get it up to 5 inches in the front and 4 inches in the rear. What I have here is the coil spacer. It is a rough country 1 3/4 inch coil spacer sitting on top of the 3-inch lift coil. It's fairly easy to get on if you have coil spring compressors, which just allows you to compress the coil that much easier. If you don't have those, you got to use a bunch of pry bars and whatnot to try to compress the coil just so you can fit that coil spacer on there. So with my lift that I did on my Jeep, I decided to add the front sway bar quick disconnects from rough country. It allows your front end to articulate a lot more off-road just by the pull of a pin, which is right here, and then this will slide right off that way, and then you can articulate your front end a lot more. Obviously on road you don't want that, just because if you have to swerve quickly you do have the chance of rolling your vehicle that much more. So on road I advise you to keep this connected just so your vehicle doesn't have that roll factor. Off road though, this thing makes a big difference. So with this lift setup I have on my Jeep, there are cons to it. With my setup, I still have stock Jeep control arms. With the 4.5 inch lift that you would buy from rough country, you'd get the tubular control arms, which are a tiny bit longer also, which centers the front axle a bit better. With my control arms, my axle is actually back in the wheel well a bit, which isn't that big of a deal. I just had to trim a bit of the fender off, which is fine. With the tubular ones that you'd get from rough country, they do allow for more articulation and they are a lot stronger. So now for the rear. With the rear, it's a add a leaf setup. You pretty much just add a leaf in there, gives you 2 inches of lift. Because I wanted to go bigger after doing the original lift, I just added a drop shackle, which is in your top left corner of the screen. With that in there, it adds an extra 2 inches of lift, which is perfect for what I needed. One other rough country product I have on here is their 1.5 inch wheel spacers. They push the rim out from its original sitting position by 1.5 inches. Before I had them installed, the tire didn't stick out past the fender flare at all. Now they stick out quite a bit. Personally, I love the look of them.